Once a sector left to the forces of nature, agriculture in Oyo State is now powered by structure, strategy, and scale. Under the leadership of His Excellency Seyi Makinde FNSC, agribusiness is the fulcrum for transformation. Welcome to Oyo State. Welcome to a legacy in motion. At the start of the Omituntun 1.0 mandate in 2019, the Seyi Makinde-led administration's vision for agriculture was clear: to unlock Oyo State's full economic potential by turning agriculture into agribusiness, powered by connectivity, infrastructure development, and youth empowerment. Governor Seyi Makinde committed to a promise: build roads, create industrial hubs, support farmers, and give young people a future in farming. In the second term, under Omituntun 2.0, the promise was sharpened: build, train, connect, scale. Today, that vision is no longer a plan. It is a story of real change.
Excellency took another approach by looking at agriculture from industrial angle. He looked at it from the agribusiness angle. He didn't just look at agriculture as a social aspect. He saw it from the economic perspective. How can we use agriculture to develop the economy of our state? And that made it one of the mainstay of the government the last 6 years. 6 years ago, like I said, in 2019, around August, we had the first retreat of the state, and the key area of focus for that retreat was about agribusiness. So almost all the parastatals and the ministries in the government were involved in this retreat, and we all produced a document which is remained to called the Agribusiness Strategy of Oyo State today. And that strategy has guided us, even though it has been tweaked around and reviewed at different points in time, has guided our strategy and our implementation plan and policy, as far as agriculture and agribusiness is concerned in the state.
Here are key milestones and projects under Omituntun 2.0. In November 2024, the Irua Agribusiness Industrial Hub, now redesignated the Oyo State Agribusiness Transformation Center, Irua, was flagged off. More recently, in August 2025, the groundbreaking ceremony for the Oyo State Agribusiness Industrial Hub, Ijaye, was held with a special agro-industrial processing zone, Ijaye, serving as an anchor for the project. And the Oyo State Agribusiness Transformation Center, Fashola, already operational with 12 agribusinesses, as the model for value chain development across the state.
The second thing that we also did, and as part of the strategy as well, is to also look at the structural problem and access issues that has impeded the agricultural sector for a long time. What do I mean by that? Access to market, access to inputs, access to finance, access to diverse areas. And we chose to do it differently. Excellency, through his vision, required that we start developing what we call the agribusiness transformation centers or agribusiness industrial hubs. We were able to finish with the pilot one at the Agricultural Transformation Center, Fashola, in Oyo State. This transformation center currently now have close to around 16 private companies that were never in existence in Oyo State before. Of these 16, I think close to around 9 or 8 of them are processing companies. Others are into livestock, others to production of crops, as it were. And one particular one is dealing with the issue of inputs, production, within that particular hub. Is to demonstrate what is the ideal in terms of regaining access, for agricultural sector. Interestingly, these private companies within the hub alone has brought in an investment of close to over 25 billion naira into your state. That was never in existence, in this state.
Youth empowerment and enterprise support. Of the over 4,000 farmers trained since 2023, over 1,100 are young people. Also, through the Youth Entrepreneurship in Agribusiness Project, YIP, the government committed 500 million naira in counterpart funding as enterprise support in collaboration with the private sector, FCMB, which is matching it with 1 billion naira. Disbursements to the first batch of beneficiaries will begin in the fourth quarter of 2025. Feeder roads and market access. Through the Rural Access and Agricultural Marketing Project RAMP, over 80 kilometers of rural roads are being rehabilitated from Aguare to Tede, from Fashola to Ijaye. Also, under RAMP, 3 major markets are being upgraded. Oyo Agri in Isenyi, Arialasa in Akoro, and Ojaba in Igbora, bringing farmers closer to buyers and buyers closer to fresh produce.
So the first thing was that as part of the strategy, we started focusing on rural development, and quite a lot was done in terms of rural development. If you look at the first 4 years of Excellency's government, the majority of the road that were done were rural roads. These were deliberate actions; they were not accidental. They were part of the strategy that was developed. That we need to ensure that rural roads are developed. And what is the significance of rural roads? When you look at the country as a whole, we have close to over 40% of post harvest lost of what we are producing. We are not producing enough. The actors that we currently have are not the right kind of actors that should be in the agricultural sector. But the little that we are producing, we are also losing over 40% of it. And if we are losing 40% of the food that we are producing, this is mainly due to, not the only reason, due to the rural infrastructure, and particularly the roads. So if farmer produce and they cannot move their product on time, then it's not rocket science that those post-harvest will happen. So now the post-harvest loss in Oyo State has reduced significantly because of this rural routes. If you drive in rural areas now, you will see almost every day products from the farm being moved to markets and to processing areas. So that was very significant that we focus on that particular area to ensure that we start developing rural infrastructure.
Farmer database. More than 52,000 farmers are now registered. Over 30,000 have been biometrically verified, enabling them to access subsidies and training directly. Mechanization and farm inputs. Under the 50% tractorization subsidy scheme, over 12,000 acres of farmland have been plowed in the past year alone. In 2024, over 3,600 smallholder farmers received fertilizers, seeds, stems, and herbicides, boosting food security statewide, while 5,640 smallholder farmers across Oyo State also received farm inputs in July and August 2025.
The state has also embarked on diverse development projects. We work on the NPS project that has supported close to 10,000 smallholder farmers. While we are driving investors at medium to large into the state, and they're already coming in high volume, we also want to ensure that we strengthen the smallholder farmers within the state, to ensure that their production and their productivity become better. And how we can best do that is to support them, in training, in capacity development, in economical practices, with inputs that are being certified. That is what we are doing in the state now, and they are benefiting across board in diverse areas.
Extension services and capacity building. The Oyo State government has recruited and trained 56 extension officers. From land mapping to seasonal climate prediction, they are now equipped to deliver real-time digital advisories across all local government areas. 15 motorcycles were distributed to improve mobility, bringing advice directly to the farm gate. Seed systems and soil testing. The Oyo State government has revived its seed coordinating committee and conducted soil testing in 100 communities. Over 22,000 farmers were trained to understand and manage soil fertility. This is science meeting sustainability. Livestock and animal health. Under the World Bank-supported Livestock Productivity and Resilience Project, LPRES, 250 extension officers and 150 livestock entrepreneurs have been trained. The Livestock Center at Fashola is now active, supporting the productivity of cattle, poultry, and more. Mass vaccination campaigns. Over 1.2 million birds and thousands of ruminants and pets have been vaccinated, protecting both human health and livelihoods. This is agriculture as biosecurity. The real success of agribusiness in Oyo State is not only in budgets or buildings, it is in people. In Erua, a young woman has expanded her cassava farm from 1 acre to 10. In Assain, a trader now reaches markets faster and safer, thanks to roads such as the 76.67 kilometer Assain-Fakbote Ogbomosho Road, constructed by the government. In Fashola, the Livestock Center is building a new generation of agro-industrialists. These are not statistics. These are stories. This is legacy.
The last 2 years has been used by Excellency to consolidate on the last 4 years. And which means it's about consolidation, where what have we not done, then we are expanding on it, we are improving on it. The aspect of tractor leasing is part of what we have been working on. We can do it better. We have been able to also provide financial support through one of our agency, ACOS, to some of the smaller farmers, within the state that can also be improved upon. We've supported poultry industry by during the period where we're able to give them grains. We'll continue to see what we can do in relation to that as well. And going forward, it's still the same things that we're doing. Because for us, we are looking at agriculture as a sector that will transform the economy of our state. It started, and what we want to see is how we can now increase the numbers of these processing companies within our states, finalize the construction of the 2 major hubs that we have in place, use that to drive more investors into our state, to process more of our crops, and to see how we can link them up to international market. And if you've seen in the last 3 to 4 months, Excellency Makinde has done quite a lot of international development drive, to see how we can link as our horse, our industry, our product to international and global markets. The value-added tax of the state has grown significantly. I read, of recent, from the Nigerian Bureau of Statistics that Oyo State is number 3, and that the critical sector that has contributed to this is agricultural sector. Of course, this is based on the genius of His Excellency. The approach he has adopted that he chooses to do things differently, and the paradigm shift, that is looking towards agriculture from industrial and from economical perspective rather than the social area.
Agriculture in Oyo State has moved from survival to strategy. With a focus on youth, innovation, access, and inclusion, it is not just about growing crops. It is about growing capacity. Under the Seyi Makinde-led administration, agribusiness is now an economic engine. The road to prosperity begins in the soil. And in Oyo State, that road has already been paved.